Hello, my 2nd through 5th grade leaders. Thank you guys so much for all that you guys do. I'm excited to have you guys this week. We're going to have a lot of fun going through the vision and mission after church this week, as well as we go into our kickoff party. So this first activity, we're going to be talking a lot about that love story that we've been talking about for the past month. And so this love story is how God has shown love through the ages and how he continues to show love in so many different ways through the Bible story and through our lives. And so as we do this, we've talked about creation, we've talked about Adam and Eve, and how God has a big plan for us, even though like Adam and Eve sinned and we've all sinned because of that too. And so today we're talking about Abram and how God calls out Abram and brings him into a new land, a new place, but he has a big plan for his life, just like he has a big plan for your life and my life. And so as we communicate that with the kids, we have a few awesome things to do. This first one is just a story scavenger hunt. And so again, we're getting them in the mindset of God's one big epic story, right? So we're going to start with some stories that they may know. So these are like little riddles that they're trying to figure out what story is it talking about on that specific line, okay? So like the first one's Diary of a Wimpy Kid, second one is like Very Hungry Caterpillar, all that kind of stuff. Should be stories that they know, but as you go through those things, they should maybe be able to figure out clues on which one is which, and then you have your little cheat sheet. Then we have a storybook activity pages like we've been doing all month. And with this storybook activity page, they are simply just talking about scenes from their world, okay? And so something that they really like to do, something that they do routinely, maybe as a family, like eating dinner with their parents or something like that. And so go ahead and have them do that. And as you go through, there's also prompts for the days that they missed. If they missed any of those days, they can make up those days and draw on those days as well, because you're going to be putting all these together at the very end for closing prayer. Then you're going to go off to a large group. We're going to hear about Abram, how he's called out, how he was turned into Abraham later on, how he had a child, all of that stuff. And God had a big story and plan for his life, and how God was going to give him more children than the stars in the sky, right? So it's going to be a really fun story. When you get back to the small groups, make sure you go back through that story together as a group. Sit down, open those Bibles, and just do it. Go through that story together. I think that is a huge, vital part of just letting them know, oh, this comes from the Bible. Like, this is a legit thing that God has brought to our attention and has written down for us. So go through that, and then you're going to divide your group into two teams when you're ready for some more physical activity, okay? You can also go through the discussion questions first before this activity, depends on how your group is going. Now, with this, you'll have some cups that are filled with water, and then you also have some ping pong balls, and the water should be basically at the top of the cup. What you do is you have those cups in a row, you have the ping pong ball at the first cup, and then they're going to blow on that ball to go all the way to the end of the cup line. If the ball falls off, they put it back on the top of the water and continue from where it fell off. Now, since you have two teams, they're racing to see who can do it the fastest, so that'll be a really fun competition for them. Now, here's the application to it. The application is see how that ball fell off sometimes, right? Well, if we mess up, even though God has a perfect plan for our life, right, we will sometimes or inevitably mess up that plan. So we will fall off and not do the exact path that God has wanted us to do. But here's the point. The point is to get back up and get back on that path. And so that's where you have to pick up that ball, put it right back where you were, and then just continue from that point. And so encourage them in that we will mess up, things are going to happen, but you know what? God still has a plan for our lives, and we can still follow it no matter what. And so that's going to be a really fun one as you go through that. God has a plan to show love to the world. That's your big bottom line for today. So keep pushing that. God has a plan. God has a plan to show love to the world and to you through your life, and to others through your life, right? And so that's going to be really cool. Now, you have a doodle verse activity page for the memory verse activity and discussion questions, okay? If you want, you can do the doodle verse activity page while you're going through the discussion questions. And these, of course, are your applications discussion questions. So definitely go through these. Like, when have you made a plan? Have you heard God's voice? Do you think that he has a plan for your life? Really dig deep into God's plan for their lives, okay? Now you're going to have an obstacle course as well. And with this obstacle course, this one will be a review of the Bible story. And so you can do this one right after the Bible story if you want to also. But what you do with this is basically you create a little obstacle course where they have a zigzag and they have like a hopscotch and they duck under a pole kind of thing. And so you have different lines on there and what to do when. And as they go through it, you're asking them questions. And so they're not able to go through the course unless they answer one of those questions, and they have to answer it correctly, right? And so all of it's basically about the different Bible story and things that also apply to their life. And so some of them are going to be their own life, some of them are going to be story, but definitely go through that story review with them as well. Then when you get to the prayer time, you're stapling all of those beautiful stories that you put together, that they've been putting together all month. And so make sure they get to take these home today as well. And as they do this, staple it together, but pray over it and say, God, thank you for being with us during our story. Thank you for guiding our story. God, help us in our story to where we can love you no matter what, and how we can follow your path and whatever you have for us no matter what. So help us, God. Like, I kind of pray, base your prayer off of that, because God has that beautiful plan to show love to the world through us and for us, right? That's it for this week, guys. I will see you guys at the training. Thank you. See you in a bit.